Hi, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Or can you not see me? Audio only. Let me see. Hopefully you can both see me and hear me now at this point. Let me go and hide this. I know that Zuri is here, so let me know, Zuri. I'm going to see if there's an echo effect going on here. See, this is what I get for being clever, right, guys? Let me just double check. Hopefully you can both. Yes, I think we are working. Is it working? Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes I know it seems really weird and hello, everybody. But sometimes I don't have it figured out when I do the little cute share screen. Sometimes I can put audio in there and sometimes I can't. It's very weird. Anyway, let me go ahead and make sure I've got everything all pretty here today. And as you notice, the background is a little bit different today because I am in my bedroom. So this is where the magic happens or doesn't happen. Because my husband and I have been on different meetings today, and so he needed his privacy. I needed my privacy. So through a shut door over there, we tried to give ourselves the illusion, I guess, of privacy. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. Oh my goodness, my hair is just so frizzy. It's a little bit humid out, everybody. All right, so welcome. And we've got the comments coming in too. So by the way, guys, quick aside here, they had it on the record that people were not seeing the comments in the app itself in Be Live. So they seem to have rectified it, which is awesome. I'm still going to keep monitoring everything to make sure that I'm not missing out on like YouTube comments. So let me go ahead and do that. Make sure that we are live to YouTube as well. I usually get an alert, so I'm not sure why I'm not getting an alert, but it could be that I'm signed in under my other thing. So if you'll give me a second, while you're waiting on me, you can go ahead and get your water, get a piece of paper and a pen to take notes if you would like to. We are tackling the sevens for the free workshop that we do every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But we are picking up from where we left off last week. We were talking about the fives last week. If you didn't catch that episode, go ahead and catch that episode. It's labeled the same thing, and it's just labeled part 1 of 2. Because I asked, because we had a marathon session talking about the fives and the sevens, and then looking at each of the fives of the Tarot Minor Arcana in depth. And we're going to do that for the sevens to really round out this topic. That was by popular request, by the way, because a couple of people were having difficulty with the fives and sevens. So that is what this free workshop series is here for. If you're having issues with the tarot and you're learning tarot and you don't understand what the fuck does the Hierophant mean, or what does that mean in relationship to a relationship or a romance reading, you know, like that, we can talk about that. Like, this free workshop series is for you guys, whatever you guys want to talk about. Okay, it looks like it's working. Even though it gave me a really funny like screen capture there. It paused at just the wrong moment where I was looking particularly goofy. Oh, good. So Dina did check out the fives episode, part 1. I watched it. Lots to think about. Awesome. Great. That is what I'm here for, folks. So let me just go ahead and make sure that the volume, and I'm going to turn down the volume to make sure that, you know, I can see these comments. So let me put that down in my side table. Just want to make sure that everyone can be seen and heard. So if this is your first time viewing one of my videos, let me go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Hilary. I am a professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. You can book me for a tarot reading over Skype, over phone, over email. In-person readings right now are out of the question with the pandemic still raging, and I want you to be safe and I want to stay safe. So right now, in-person readings are off the tarot table, so to speak, and you can go ahead and book a Skype, phone, or email reading right here on my website below, tarotbyhilary.com. That is Hilary with uno L. So, at the start of every episode, or at the start of some of our latest episodes, I've been talking a little bit about the Astro-Weather from our wonderful friend of the show, my personal business mentor for many, many years, Theresa Reed, aka the Tarot Lady. She has a wonderful, wonderful subscription called the Astro Biz Digest that is geared toward entrepreneurs, but also I find very personally illuminating when I get my astrology in my email inbox every single week for every day of the week. So I usually like to quote from her for today's astrology and also for the weekend astrology. So we'll do that. We do that at the top of the episode. Then we get into the workshop topic. And then at the end of the episode, I give you a forecast, weekend forecast, based on one tarot or oracle card that I pull. So if you're here looking for a free reading, that is your freebie. You have to stay to the end of the episode to get it. So stay tuned. Tonight we're going to do a card pull for the weekend forecast from the beautiful Fountain Tarot. And let me just show how gorgeous this deck is. And the packaging is just beautiful. If I'm remembering correctly, who is this distributed by? I cannot remember who was their distributor, but their packaging is just so freaking phenomenal. It says there, "You are the voice and the breath of universes." It's just a gorgeous deck, and I love it. And I also am a really big fan of any tarot deck that has good packaging. You know, like some people say it's not the size of your package, it's how you use it. But part of the reason why there are so many tarot readers that mention to beginner tarot readers, you want to wrap it in silk or you want to put it in a nice bag, it's because the packaging as of late or up until recently of tarot decks haven't been that great. And they're usually like really flimsy cardboard, which tends to ding the edges of the tarot deck. Now, if you have great packaging, you don't need to worry so much about putting this in wrapping it in silk or putting it in a nice tarot bag. You can simply have it in the box that it came in, because this is beautiful. It has a magnetic closure too. Love it. And it just snaps in place. Very nice. Anyway, that is where we are going to be getting our tarot weekend forecast from at the end of the episode. Stay tuned for that. Also, I saw that we didn't have any questions prior to the start of the episode, because I did pre-schedule to make sure people could get in their questions. But if you have any questions about the fives of the tarot and you have already watched part 1, go ahead and put that in the chat right now, and I'll try and get to you. If you haven't watched the part 1 of this, you need to probably go and watch that before you would watch this. I mean, feel free to watch this live. I'm happy that you're here live, but you may want to start with the fives, which is part 1, which was last week's episode, which you can find a replay either on Facebook, facebook.com/tarot by Hilary, and look in my videos, or you can look at it on YouTube, youtube.com, user Hilary with 1L tarot. So you may want to check out that episode first. If you're fine with learning about the sevens now and then circling back and watching that episode, part 1, later, that's cool too. It's however you would like to absorb the knowledge. And also maybe you're not having trouble with the fives, but you're having trouble with the sevens. There you go. This episode is for you. So let me know if there's any questions that you have for those people that have not watched, those people that have watched part 1 and have any lingering questions, because we're talking about the sevens tonight to really round out this 2-part episode of Tarot by Hilary Live. while I wait on those, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the astrology and also take a sip of my water, aka a beer, because it's been a tough day. And I'm really curious to see what the astrology from today is, because it has been such a crazy day for me that I don't even know what the astrology was. I didn't even have time to look at the astrology this morning. And I didn't do my IG video that I do every morning. I didn't do that until like after 3 p.m. That's how crazy today was for me. I'm not going to say to blame it on astrology, but I kind of want to find out what the astrology is in case I can blame it on astrology, if you know what I'm saying. By the way, this is a Pinstripe Pills from Blue Point Brewing Company. And this is my first alcoholic beverage of the day. So don't worry, folks. I haven't been drinking all day, and I'm not going to be loopy, or at least more loopy than my normal outgoing Aries self. So ask those questions. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the astrology. And actually, let me be clever here. There's, yep. Speaking of astrology, Dina is mentioning Moon is in Aries, your sign. Yes, it is. And also, I'm a triple Aries, folks. So I'm feeling it pretty keenly. And also, Mars is in Aries for a couple of months as well. And my natal Mars is in Aries. And Mars in Aries is like, it's natural association. So it's like, it's just a lot of Aries energy right now. And we also are in Leo season at the moment. It's rough for me. It's really rough. I feel like I'm very fiery and very combative. And Mars being in Aries natally, like that is kind of how I fight, how I react to situations. It's not great. It's not great. So, oh gosh, where is my, well, I was hoping that I still had my little countdown timer. Oh, well, I'll do the, yes, damn girl, you need exercise. Yes, I do need to divert my energy. With the triple Aries, yeah, I need to divert my energy. Otherwise, it tends to implode in on myself. So well, that's a topic for another workshop, I think. Okay, let me see here. That's the reason why I usually say lots of meditation, lots of self-awareness, so that I'm not taking this Aries energy and projecting it onto crazy things, situations, other people. You know what I'm saying. Okay, let me see here. Let me pull up my AstroBiz Digest, my astrology. Okay. Oh, that's the reason why. Of course, I remember this now. Oh, guys, no wonder people have been feeling the way they are and reacting the way they've been. So I'll give this a caveat here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up. Let me start. Let's see. Let me start up. Sorry. That was a little bit messy there. So first up, we're going to talk about the Astro-Weather, always giving credit where credit is due. You guys know, if you watched a couple episodes, I know just enough astrology to be dangerous. But I'm mostly a tarot reader. I don't pretend to be able to read other people's natal charts. Just enough, just a pinch, just a scotch to be dangerous. So the reason why I'm going, oh, yes, of course, is because Venus shifted into Cancer today, the 7th. Folks may be more sensitive than usual, and you may be too. Do your best to remain kind at all times, and even if a few snarly types get through the door. If you go above and beyond to take care of people, they will remember that. A bit of softness could open the doors in the future. Venus remains in Cancer until September 6th. So this energy that we're feeling about being sensitive, that's going to remain in effect until September 6th. Of course, we are not just our sun sign. There's many other things going on in astrology. Oh, and I really need to take off my notifications right now. I didn't realize I still had that open. I apologize. That was my work email pinging. Oopsie badoopsie. Let me make sure that I'm logged off of there. Yikes. Okay. So there's been a lot going on this week. We did move into the sign of Leo. When did we move? Yes. Oh, sorry. Full moon in Aquarius on the 3rd. Mercury moved into Leo on the 4th. And that can be about PR campaigns, getting yourself on the radar, being noticed, being seen, make some noise, look at the bigger picture. And Mercury remains in Leo until August 19th. So we got Venus in Cancer today. We've still got Mercury in Leo. That started on the 4th. Venus in Cancer started on the 7th, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I also have another person that I'd love to recommend to you guys, and I will do that at the end of this particular portion of the workshop, okay? Let me just quickly move over, make sure I'm seeing everything still. Looks like it, looks like it. Oh, by the way, notice there is also automated captions going on now too, which is really, really cool. So big fan of that. Come on. Sorry, I'm trying to get this to go into everything. Sorry about that. Okay. Cool. Got it. Got it. Okay. So today and Saturday and Sunday. So after this segment, I'll tell you about another astrologer that I follow that's also a tarot reader. So Friday begins with Aurora when the moon blitzes into Aries at 9:05 a.m. That is Eastern Standard Time for all of these times. Energetic vibe into the next few days, blessing you with stamina to get big things off the ground. A launch today could bring lots of dough into the weekend and beyond. If you've got something new to unveil, today is your day. Venus in Cancer starting at 11:21 a.m. means clients or people will be more sensitive than usual for a few weeks. And I already told you the info about that. Send out a newsletter, post a sales meme when Mercury and the moon line up at 8:12 p.m. A bit of PR will keep the cheddar rolling your way. Don't hold back. Power day for Aries, weekday for Libra. So sorry, those Libra folks. It might be feeling a little bit weak for you today, or you're feeling a little bit out of control today. Saturday and Sunday. Saturday is for trailblazers. Moon in Aries all day. You can set trends and make waves. Be bold in everything you do. Lead. Shake up your industry, or just shake up your personal life. While some folks are playing it safe, you should take risks and pave new roads. Above all, don't be mainstream anything. Instead, take your audience on a journey they've never been on before. Trine between the moon and sun at 6:49 p.m. is oh so divine for a spirited PR campaign. And finish your Saturday off with a well-placed ad or fresh blog post. Again, this is astrology that has more of an entrepreneurial slant, but I still find it really, really effective personally as well. Close up shop at 11:49 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when the moon squares Jupiter. This brings nothing but big mouths and trouble. You don't have time for that nonsense. Sunday's aspects are a little bit peppery, so take heed. Moon-Mars conjunction at 4:35 a.m. Hot-headed vibe in the air. It will be too easy to get pissy with folks, especially if they're getting aggro with you. Power players and domineering types are out in full force when Moon squares Pluto at 7:38 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So tempers could flare and egos are bound to be out of control. Honestly, that's a Sunday. I am going to be sleeping in through that. I'm just not going to be dealing with that at all because I'm going to be asleep for it. At 3:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the moon will be void, but the negative energy remains. It's not until 9:28 p.m. that things truly improve when the moon settles into placid Taurus. The evening will wind down on a mellow note, perfect for a glass of wine and watching the sunset with someone you love. Both days, so actually all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, are power days for Aries and weekdays for Libra. So man, Libra, I am sorry. But knowing is half the battle. Like learning how to work with that energy instead of against that energy, you'll be ahead of the game. This is the reason why I give you some of the Astro-Weather from Theresa, so that you are forewarned is forearmed. So anyone have any questions before we move into talking about the sevens of the minor arcana? Let me know, let me know, let me know. Oh, yes. Let me take a sip. And I also want to talk to you about another astrologer that you should follow. I really, really recommend them. Lisa Salvatore, or Salvatore. I always mess that up, guys. Hi, honey. It's okay. See, this is what I'm saying, guys. Where the magic happens. My husband was out, now he's coming in to change. He apologizes for any intrusion he might cause. It's not a problem. This is remote working, folks. This is life in the quarantine, life in the bubble, life in the pandemic, right? Sometimes our living spaces get much smaller than we realize, and sometimes we have to find ways to make it bigger or what have you. So anyway, ooh, that was a nice cool breeze when that door opened. Let me pull up. I believe her website is lisasalvatore.com. And she does really amazing YouTube videos to talk about the astrology. So yeah, lots of talk about on August 3rd, the Aquarius full moon, which have themes of liberation and freedom as well, and authentic truth, and speaking your authentic truth. So I'm going to go ahead and share that link here. And if you do happen to ever work with Lisa, tell her I sent you, okay? I'll go ahead and project this here. So, and that went both places, I think. Yes, 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 yes. Good, good. Everything seems to be working. Simulcast is working. I'm seeing your comments. Everything is wonderful. All right. So, any lingering questions about the fives before we move into the sevens? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Let me know, let me know, let me know. So, to give you guys perspective on a little bit of what we talked about last week. Gosh, I hate this background. Let me see. I don't want to really mess with it though. Forget it, it's fine. It's very white. So what we talked about in last week's episode is the reason why I'm doing this two-part episode. And the reason why I'm doing this is it's by popular request. At least 3 people asked me to do this particular topic, this particular episode. And so basically the question was, I'm studying minor arcana suits by number. 5s and 7s both say conflict. How is it different, only that the 7 is further along in the journey? And why are the 5s and 7s so difficult for me to understand? And we talked a little bit about the tip that I recommended, and I'll recommend it again, and we're going to do it again with the 7s of the tarot tonight for the minor arcana tonight. But a tip that I would say to understand any difficult card in the tarot, to just address that particular question, yes, with the 7s, you're a little bit further along the journey, because in the minor arcana, you have aces, which is the 1, ace through 10 of the minor arcana. And the ace is the beginning of the situation. The 5 is the middle of the situation. For better or for worse, you're halfway in, but you're also halfway out. And sometimes it feels like you're only halfway in and you're not seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. And then the 10s would be the outcome of the situation or the ending of that situation. So that's a part of the way that you can bake timing into your tarot readings, is looking at the numbers in the minor arcana cards coming up and seeing, oh, this is the 5 of Cups. As we talked about last episode, it can be a difficult card because you're halfway through this emotional situation. Emotional because we're talking about cups, which is the suit of love, of feelings, of emotions. As we saw of the 5 of Cups in last week's episode, the 5 of Cups can be a very difficult card to deal with because it's not, you're kind of stuck in the past. It's definitely a card that you're feeling you're halfway in, not halfway out. And especially with the figure looking backwards, there is this sense of mourning, of grief, of playing the what if game. So keep this in mind, those numbers, the 5s, the 7s, that is an indication of where you are or where your client might be in, or your friend, whoever you're reading their cards for, where they are in the situation. It could be that they're stuck in the middle, but they're focused more on the past instead of looking forward to the future line. That figure could be someone in their life. That figure could be themselves. So again, context is everything. Sometimes we cannot read just one card. We have to look at the surrounding cards to give a more accurate interpretation of what this tarot card reading might be meaning in the context of the question that was asked. So does that make sense to everybody? Hope it does. Ooh. My stream health was not happy just then. Please stay. So with the 7s, you are a bit further along. Let me go ahead and hide that card. But what I would recommend doing, and we're going to do this with the 7s, is laying out the 5s and the 7s of different decks, or doing a Google image search and comparing them. Or you can lay out just the 5s and look at the 5s in that particular deck. Or you can take the 5s of one deck and compare it to the 5s of another deck. You can also do this with the major arcana as well. Like if you're having particular difficulty with the Hierophant card, for example, or the Lover's card, or the Devil card, or the Star card, look for different depictions of that particular card from different decks. You may find a deck imagery that makes you or allows you to see that card in a different way, to be able to make sense of that card in a better way. Sometimes we stick with one deck and we don't expand our horizons with other decks. And I'm not saying go out and buy a whole bunch of different tarot decks, because one, that might be a waste of your money, and two, we have this lovely thing that we're all interacting with right now, which is called the internet. You can go and do an image search for many different tarot cards, many different decks, and be able to still look at comparing and contrasting the imagery in those cards. So if that makes sense to everyone, let me know. If that doesn't make sense to everyone, don't worry about it. You're going to see this in practice when we compare the 7s across the minor arcana of the Rider-Waite-Smith deck. And keep in mind, you can do this with any deck. Like I can just go on the Google right now and I can pull up different 5s as well, if you guys want to see that in action, comparing across different decks to see the similarities and the differences. But then this is what I'm saying. This is how you learn to understand more difficult cards. Even if it might not be a traditional difficult card, but you're having problems with it, then it's a difficult card. This is a way to figure it out, have your brain, have your intuition make sense of it. So how are they the same? How are they different? And what can you learn from them to differentiate between the meanings between the cards and also the meanings between the 5s and the sevens. Because if the fives and the sevens were the same, we wouldn't have two separate sets of cards. We would only have one set, right? Right. You'll see that in a second. Wow. Zuri says, yes, don't be a Zuri and get over 80 decks. That's fine. That's fine if they bring you joy and if you have the money. I don't want to say how many decks I have, but I feel like it's hovering around 80 to 100, maybe. Please, God, I hope my mother is not watching this right now, because she'll probably be like, oh my goodness, like, you need to stop spending your money on that. But she's very weird sometimes because she knows that this is my profession and this is my business. So she doesn't tend to get really upset with what I spend my money on if it's related to my business. And so that's what I kind of say. Just like, it's a tax write-off. I can itemize this as expenses for my taxes. Make friends with your accountant or find an accountant that you can work with. And you don't have to ever fear the tax man when it comes to professional tarot readings. But yeah, I think I'm around 80 to 100. I've never really counted because I'm afraid of what the number actually is. Yes, and that's true. To my credit, readers do have a lot of different decks. Here's the reason why readers have a lot of different decks. And this is my philosophy why I have a lot of different decks. It's not just me looking at them, and it's not just me reading from them. If you are working with a client and you are using a deck that doesn't speak to them, that doesn't resonate with them, that the imagery doesn't reflect their life, it's probably going to be a pretty shitty reading. So representation is very, very important. We actually talked about this in the Card Slingers Coast to Coast podcast regarding Black Lives Matter and regarding representation. And it used to be, and it still kind of is, this whole hashtag tarot so white, because that was primarily who was the tarot deck creators. Now we're starting to get a lot of representation for people of color, for all different ethnicities and races, and it's a really beautiful thing to see. So you might want to check out that episode because representation is very, very important. And if you're reading for a client and they're not seeing a reflection in the cards of their own personal experience in life, probably not going to be a great reading. So, oh boy. One day, Hilary, we will have a slumber party and share decks. Actually, Zuri, we need to talk. We should probably do kind of like an interview, maybe have you on as a guest on one of these workshops. So let me know. We will talk privately about it. I have the capability in the Be Live app to do that. I just have to figure out how to do it because you would probably be my first guest. Oh. But if that would be fun for you guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat. If you want to see Zuri and me talking tarot on here, let me know. Okay, so tips for understanding difficult cards. So I hope the tips for understanding difficult cards, if you deem them to be difficult, make sense to you guys. Let me know. You are going to see that in action with the sevens. Okay, so let's just get into it. Let's just talk about the sevens. And then at the end of this episode, before, of course, we close off with the weekend forecast, I'm going to pull up a couple of the fives and the sevens so you can see them side by side and do a little bit of a comparison. So Zuri is saying in the late fall, yes. Okay, cool. We will schedule something. Take a look at your Fridays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Or we might pre-record something. But it's more fun to do it live. I enjoy the live process. I mean, that's another thing I've got to talk to you guys about. I think we're coming up on a year of me doing this free workshop series every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I really think we're coming up on that. And part of the reason why is because I joined a program called Camera Confidence. It's awesome. It's by the wonderful prepared performer, Molly Mahoney, and her team. And if you want to have a little bit of a laugh, go back into the archives at some of the videos from like 50 weeks ago, 42 weeks ago, and I want you to see the difference. And hopefully you will see the difference between hi everybody and this. Because that's the whole point of me joining that program, is to be more confident on camera, is to bring stuff like this to you guys. Aw, Dina's saying congrats. Well, congratulations to everyone here too. Most of you are regular viewers and watch this live every week. I wouldn't be here without you guys. So I promised myself I wouldn't cry. All right, sevens. Let's go to the sevens. And hopefully I've already prepped this in such a way that I don't have to find them. Uh-oh, I think I only have the fives in here. Eek. All right, let's pull up some media so that I can display this. And let me see where the heck I have them. Let's see. Let us start with all right. Good. All right, I found it, I got it. Got it, I got it. So let's start with, I think the last time when we worked with the fives, I asked by popular request, what do we want to start with? Everyone said the Five of Swords, so let's go ahead and start with the Seven of Swords. Oh boy, okay. So we started to talk a little bit about the connections between the Five of Swords and the Seven of Swords. And this is really no more or less, and I know I'm not trying to denigrate my profession here and saying that all tarot reading is looking at the pictures on the card and telling a story. But in a nutshell, that kind of is what tarot reading is. When you really boil down to it, and of course, I've learned from books, I've learned from teachers, I've gone to conferences, I've taken classes. So obviously, you just build your layering one on top of another to get a greater understanding of these cards and the symbols on these cards to be able to use your intuition that's ignited or catalyzed by the symbology that you're seeing on the cards out in front of you. To me, the beauty of tarot really is my client has intuition, I have intuition, and then the common language of our two intuitions talking to each other to be able to provide a reading, because I have a very collaborative approach when I read tarot for my clients. The shared language is the tarot deck that's between us, so that they can see, it's not just coming from the intuition, and intuition is a very important part of this, but they can see the tarot card for themselves. They can see some of where my eye is falling and why I would say that particular interpretation for their particular situation that they want a reading on. So that's the great part of tarot. It's a mirror. It's reflecting back their life experience. And they're seeing it too, and they're able to interpret as well, because we all have different opinions and personal connotations and past experiences with some of the symbols that come up frequently in a tarot card. And not all those experiences are the same, but it's a conversation. Like, if I see a snake as a symbol in a tarot card, I think wisdom. They might be afraid of snakes, or they may also find it to be wisdom. But between the two, we find an interpretation. That makes sense to you guys? Smash on those heart emojis. Let me know in the chat. We'd love to hear it. Let me go ahead and take away this text on screen, which is very, very pretty, but also annoying me a little bit because we can't see the damn card. So let me see. So what I was saying last week about the fives and the sevens, because we did a little start of comparing the fives and the sevens. And don't forget, you can compare any of these to any others. So you can compare the 5 of Swords to the 7 of Wands and try and find a relation or how they're different or how they're similar. You can do that too. But for a more straightforward comparison, I compared the 5 of Swords and the 7 of Swords. And here's what we found last week. And you might want to go back to the episode, part 1, to see all this. But I'm just going to cover it here. So here's the 5 of Swords, right? Let me look for, oh, come now. Stop that, stop that. I've got a lot of, I've got a lot of images in here. Come on. No. Am I just running out of room? I guess I must be running out of room here. I'll just take that away. Sorry, guys. Because I'm dealing with my camera screen. Shoot. I want to be able to expand this a little bit. All right, I'm just going to have to close out some of this stuff to be able to make room for the 7s. But here we go. This is what I wanted to look at here. So, and I might just hide myself. No. Well, I mean, that's kind of like a back-to-back. It's kind of cool, but I would rather have a zoomed-in version of this, right? So, oh, good. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do audio only. Let me know if you guys can still hear me. Just with a yes, we can still hear you. So we can compare these a little bit. And while you do that, I'm gonna just let me know if you can hear me talking right now. And actually, I'm going to double check this myself on my YouTube. I think so. Yep. Okay, good. Sorry, there was a little bit of a delay there. So I see that Katie has joined us. So evening, my morning, I slept in just at the right time. And since Katie was here for last week's episode, part 1, talking about the 5s, she's saying, I can't unsee that smirk now in the 5. I know, exactly. And that can be a good part of learning tarot, and it can also be a bad part, because depending on the deck that you use to learn tarot, you might forever have that seared into your brain, and it may stop you from opening up yourself to other interpretations of the card. So it's like you want to see it, you want to remember it, but then you want to kind of put it to the back of your mind, unless, of course, your eye is truly being drawn to it as part of the interpretation or the question that is being asked of the tarot, of you as the tarot reader. So, but yeah, that's the fun part. And this is going to be something that we talk about a little bit when we start to compare the 5s and the 7s, like for realsies. But this is kind of my segue into the 7s, is this layering of meanings and symbology. And, you know, I've read from so many decks at this point that you could probably hand me a deck that I've never worked with before, and I'll probably be able to read with it okay. You know, I probably won't be great with it unless I really work with that deck for a month. And this is what I usually do in my own personal practice, is when I get a new tarot deck that I'm unfamiliar with, I don't read for clients with that deck until I've logged at least a month's worth of time understanding the deck, working with the deck personally, doing card of the day pulls with the deck, I usually give that about a month before I put that tarot deck in circulation with my clients, because otherwise, like, I just don't. It's kind of unethical for me to do that kind of sight unseen. However, there have been certain tarot clients that have handed me a deck and said, I would like you to read me from this. Like, this is my own deck. I give you permission to use it, but like, can you just read for me using my own deck of preference? And I'm just like, yeah, sure. I'm just like, if I can, I will. I'm always willing to make that attempt, but I don't really want to have any kind of practice or experimentation happen on somebody else's time and on somebody else's dime, if that makes sense to people. Like, for example, there's one client of mine that really prefers the Thoth or the Thoth deck, which looks very different from the Rider-Waite-Smith Tarot. And I can read with the Thoth, but it's not my first choice. But she asked, and I was willing to go along with it, and it was actually a very powerful reading. So, but here's the good thing about that. You log a lot of hours on different decks. You start to remember how different decks look and what symbols tended to strike you on certain decks. And then when it gets really, really awesome is when you give your client the option of which deck do you want to be read from, and they choose a deck, and the exact image that they need to see that really drives the meaning of the particular tarot reading home appears in that deck and no other deck for that particular card. That's when things are really, really fun. And when your eye is drawn to it, especially, and you realize, yeah, I'm pretty sure that symbol isn't in any of the other tarot decks that I have. So it's usually even more meaningful when that happens. So 5 of Swords and 7 of Swords. So what I noticed when we compared the two of these last Friday, the last episode, was, I wish I kind of had a pointer, but I'm just going to have to tell you with my words. Let me see if we have anything like that. No, of course not. Unless, of course, I did a PowerPoint presentation, which I'm not going to do. So these 3 figures in the 5 of Swords, maybe these are the figures that are in the 7 of Swords, off in the distance, and there are only shadows, so you can't really see them very well. But on the bottom left corner, right where his leg is, and kind of like on the same level as like his knee, look over to the left. Can you see those figures? Let me know. Is it amusing to you that these, it looks like 3, and the guy that's standing on his own with the 2 swords up and the 1 sword down, it looks like it's almost as if the 5 of Swords is off in the distance, and that situation is playing out off in the distance in the 7 of Swords. So let me know if you can see that, if you, yes. So yeah, Katie's saying, yes, we can see them. So this is something that we noticed when we were doing a little bit of a comparison in last week's episode. So last week's episode was more in depth with the 5s, but we did start to make our comparisons and contrasts between the 5s and the 7s starting last episode. So that'll really bake your noodle, right, guys? Especially when, okay, well, how does that play into a tarot reading? Well, look at the context of the question. Well, what the client asked or what you asked yourself. Could that have an interpretation or bearing on what you were asking the tarot? Now, the 7 of the tarot, the 7 of Swords of the tarot, I usually like to call the Thief in the Night card. Someone's trying to be more clever. Someone's trying to get away with something. sneaking off or being sneaky, lying perhaps. Could it be that he's trying to steal the other swords from the Five of Swords guys? We don't know. But it's something to ponder. It's something to think about in the context of the reading. Katie says, and because they seem to be away from the tents, I think they're not part of whoever is there. Right. Or they could be. So, and what's really going to bake your noodle is in different readings on different days, that interpretation can completely change, and you could be saying something different or interpreting something different from those same images. So keep that in mind. All right, so let me put away the fives and we'll talk more about the seven. So any other thoughts about the Seven of Swords before I pull up another of the sevens for us to discuss? Because we kind of discussed each of the cards on their own, and then we looked at them across the sevens. And look at the different tent colors. Why did he not run away with all seven swords? He's got five. And it's actually really interesting when you start to look at other decks, and hopefully I'll be able to do this with my particular deck that I've got over here, which is the Fountain Tarot. Because the Seven of Swords is depicted very differently in the Fountain Tarot. I can only hope to find it in my deck right now. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I'm not going to be able to find it right now. Don't want to take away from what we're doing currently by looking for that. But some of the different depictions of the Seven of Swords can be the person is, and actually in this particular depiction, why is he not holding those swords with the handle? Why is he not holding them by the hilt? Is it because he can't grab all of them all at one time, so he has to do it that way? But look, he's cutting his hands up, having to carry those five swords. So honestly, he's trying to be more clever than he actually is, but he's ending up really hurting himself in the process. So in the end, is it really worth it? Again, questions you can ask yourselves when you look at the Seven of Swords. Let me pull up another one. Do we want to do the Seven of Wands next? So I usually try and get those two out of the way. So let's take a look at the Seven of Wands. Now, anyone, let me see if I can. See if I can come on here. Darn it. I was trying to be clever. Oh, good. Katie says, yes, wands, please. All right, let me hide my face again so you can really see the comparison between the two of them. But anyone that was asking me, well, what's the difference? How do I know? These are two very different men, you know, or the same man in two different situations. This is kind of an illustration of knowing your audience and knowing that what works in one situation might not work for another situation. So let me hide myself so you can see the Seven of Wands a little bit better, especially in comparison, not only on its own, but also in comparison to the Seven of Swords. Interesting. So Katie's saying his body language looks like he's about to stab that wand into the ground. And why would he do that? Would it be because he wants to find surer footing? I mean, oftentimes when I see this card, I feel like it's very, very aggressive towards the figure. And so he's in a defensive posture, but his footing is not sure. And also, notice his footwear. What can you tell me about his footwear and where his feet are planted? Ooh, and while you're doing that, I'm going to grab something that might be helpful. And I've actually mentioned it before to you guys. So keep looking at the Seven of Wands. But I really do suggest strongly about symbology and about noticing different things on these cards. I would really, really strongly recommend the Tarot Coloring Book by Theresa Reed because, for example, the Magician, I had no idea that the Magician's belt was a snake until I colored it. So Katie's got it. I'm gonna get my book. I know exactly where it is. Give me a second here. If anybody else wants to chime in, absolutely go ahead and do so. Okay. I'm just gonna keep this on my lap for now until we're ready to use it. But yep, Zuri's also got it. The shoes don't match. Different shoes and pointing opposite direction or opposing directions, exactly. So what can that tell us? I mean, notice the Seven of Swords. He's got some fancy boots there, and it looks like they match. But the Seven of Wands doesn't seem to have his shit together. He put on two different shoes. Could it be because he was trying to flee the mob that's now attacking him with the wands? And he has to now turn around and fight? And that's the reason why he's wearing two different shoes, because he had to flee, and now he has to turn around and battle? This also speaks to me of not having sure footing and needing to find sure footing in order to be able to mount a defense. So what Katie was saying before, his body language looks like he's about to stab that wand into the ground. It could be that he's trying to plant that wand into the ground to provide himself more sure footing, because it looks like he's almost backed up to the edge of a cliff and he's about to be pushed off. You know, it's not a very pleasant card, really. And if I had to choose, if I really had to choose between these two cards, I would probably choose the Seven of Swords rather than the Seven of Wands. Yes, so Katie's saying, so things done in a hurry. Yeah, absolutely. It also can be an indication that haste makes waste. That, you know, if you're going to be able to defend intelligently, then you need to have some planning involved. Actually, let me see if I can bring up the interpretation of the Seven of Wands. Oh, turned right to it. So let me come on here. And so let me know what the body language is very different, right? Between these two guys, between 5 and between the 7, right? Yes. Katie's saying, I'm just noticed that there are little shoots of growth on the wands. Yep. So, I mean, what could you say about that? Is that growth, is it that like hardship or struggle is necessary, and that it will actually elicit or catalyze the most growth? That could be an interpretation. Again, remember, context and the surrounding cards are very important to know how you would interpret these cards in a reading situation for someone. And notice also, I want to draw your attention, and this is another tip for reading difficult cards or trying to figure out where they would fall, what interpretation you would use. And notice where the figures are looking. So the Seven of Swords, he's looking almost behind him over his shoulder, almost as if he's already looking at it over his shoulder and waiting for I don't know, have people noticed that I've made off with these 5 swords? And look at the Seven of Wands. His focus is not behind, it's not in the past, it's not looking forward, it is directly looking at who is attacking. And he has his attention focused on that, which I think is a good thing. Yeah, he could be planting cuttings, LOL, which doesn't at all look like his body language, nor his face. I mean, you notice the smirk, right, on the 5 of Swords. Notice his face on the 7 of Wands. That doesn't look like a face that's planting cuttings. It looks like a face that it's just like looks that face looks stressed out. That face looks like I have to defend. I have to make a stand almost. So let me hide the sneaky. And let me come down here. No, that is not what I wanted to do, folks. That's a little bit more than what I wanted to do. So I have this wonderful book in my hands, the Tarot Coloring Book by Theresa Reed, and it's got a beautiful spine here so that you can lay this out flat and do your coloring. And each spread has the interpretation, what it means reversed, the elemental association, and then a portion on it that says notice the symbols. And then you have the blank page in which to color in to your heart's content. And you can put any color that you want to, but she does also note which colors come up in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck as well. So for here, the 7 of Wands is a card of courage and action, defense or offense, and the hard-won victory. So we already said, notice the symbols, the mismatched footwear, no fooling these mismatched shoes. And this is Theresa's interpretation. These mismatched shoes indicate an ability to redirect people's attention or trick people. So that's interesting, knowing that one of these cards, this other 7, the 7 of Swords, is a card about being clever, is a card about being tricky. Interesting that it has that element to it in the Wands, or at least through Theresa's interpretation of why the mismatched footwear is happening there. Perhaps the figure wanted his attackers to assume he had less fight in him than he actually does. So that's another interpretation of why the mismatched footwear, right? Which colors make you feel strong, as if you can stand up and defend your beliefs? So in this case, you can see the sky is blue. The figure wears a green tunic over a yellow shirt. His tights are orange. His boots are brown. The wands are brown with green buds. He stands on a green hill. And the prompt would be, which colors make you feel strong, as if you can stand up and defend your beliefs? Because, you know, if that blue or the green is not resonating with you, you can color in your card any colors that you would feel you could stand up and defend your beliefs. So it's definitely a card of defending your beliefs or fighting hard for something you wanted, me against the world energy, which I think is true. Now I'm curious to see what Theresa had for the 7 of Swords. So I'm going to look and see. But let me know if there's any other comments, any other things you're seeing in these cards. Seven of Swords indicates cunning or craftiness. And we have some symbols in here. So the symbol that she called out, she's not calling out all the symbols, just the one that seems to be striking for her. And we've already hit upon that, which is the soldiers, or what seems like soldiers in the background. So it says here, the soldiers in the background. One has his sword raised. Are they fighting among themselves, or did they discover the thief in the act? Something to think about. I would highly recommend this book. I know this entire workshop series is not a promotion for Theresa's work, but you know, very often I find that some of the things that she's done the work on, great reference material, wonderful reference material, but also you have to come to your own understanding about what these cards and what these symbols mean to you. Otherwise, it's almost as if you're going through the motions of giving a tarot reading for yourself or for somebody else, rather than truly understanding the symbology and how tarot speaks to you. So does that make sense to everyone before we get into, all right, which one next? Seven of Pentacles or the Seven of Cups? I think we should probably finish with the Seven of Cups, because I feel like the Seven of Cups sometimes is easier to understand rather than the other seven. So you let me know. You let me know. I'm hearing weird noises in the other room. I think my husband is playing video games as I do my live. I think that's the reason why our marriage works. I do my thing, he does his thing, and then we come together. All right, Pentacles. I'm seeing a vote for Go Pentacles. Go Pentacles. Yes, let's do that. Minor Arcana. Pentacles. Well, this is going to be fun. Let's have all three of them up on screen at the same time. I'm going to go bye-bye for a second, but you can hear my voice. See, my cute little logo is here, but I will take it down. Is that my background? No, that's not my background. My overlay. Don't get in the way. Oh, some of these overlays are really cute. Uh-oh. No, Hilary, do not get distracted by the overlay. You can play with Be Live at another time. There we go. Let me see if I can just put out my tiny logo there. There we go. Better. Tiny logo. Okay. So now you can see the sevens. 3 altogether. And then we'll talk about the Seven of Cups last. But 3 very different stories going on here. So hopefully you can see that as you're looking at the Seven of Pentacles. So the Seven of Pentacles, honestly, it's interesting. When I see the Seven of Pentacles in a reading, I'm looking at his face, and sometimes his face changes to me. Even if the card doesn't change, even if the symbols of the card doesn't change, it's almost as if, and I'm going to make a Harry Potter reference. I know that J.K. Rowling is a TERF. I'm trying to separate the creator of something from the byproduct, which I love, but, you know, like trans women are women. So let's just put that out there. But when I look at the facial expression on the Seven of Pentacles, it shifts almost as if it's like one of those paintings in Harry Potter, or one of those like playing cards, or, great wizards cards, where the pictures are moving. That's what I feel like when I look at the Seven of Pentacles. Now, so Katie's, yes. Okay, great. So Katie's seeing what I was about to say. So Katie's saying, okay, so I've been planting cuttings lately, so maybe that's why I'm seeing this. But, and remember, Katie saw the buds in the Seven of Wands too. So is that what you're talking about the Seven Pentacles? Because he doesn't look very satisfied to me at the moment. Now, to me, his facial expression sometimes changes for me, like those trading cards in the Harry Potter universe, where they shift, and Ron says to Harry, "Well, you can't expect him to be standing in the picture all the time, right? He has things to do." To me, I sometimes see the facial expression on some of these cards, not just the Seven of Pentacles, some other cards. I sometimes see a different facial expression, or I interpret the facial expression differently. I mean, the second option is what's really going on, but so to Katie, he doesn't look very satisfied to me at the moment. So be very careful, everyone, when you're looking at your tarot. Is it because you're not satisfied, or is it because the figure truly isn't satisfied? Don't worry, I ask myself that same question too. Because to me, he may not be satisfied, but that's not really what I'm seeing right now. What I'm seeing right now is a little bit of like pensiveness, thoughtfulness, evaluating, not necessarily satisfaction. And again, look at the context and look at the surrounding cards. Like, this is the reason why tarot is 78 cards and not just one damn card. Yes, you can get a lot of information out of one card, but most tarot is meant to be read in conjunction with the other cards. Pentacles look like he is looking at the growth of the stuff he has planted in the Wands. Right? Yeah. That certainly is a valid interpretation. So Seven of Pentacles, really, really quickly, most of the keywords that come up is like, you've planted the seed and now you're starting to see it grow to fruition. Sometimes the interpretation, again, depending on the surrounding cards, is, the expectations or the satisfaction are not matching up with your initial estimates, I guess. Let me go to the book. Let me go to the tape for the Seven of Pentacles. By the way, at the beginning of this, the tarot coloring book, she's got the minor arcana, the major arcana, and minor arcana. And she's got some number significance. So since this episode is about both the fives and the sevens, we are focusing on the sevens to round this out. But the fives are change, instability, and conflict. And the seven would be challenge and struggle. So there you go. Let me look at the pentacles. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to have to bookmark that. That's very cool. I just noticed a symbol that I didn't notice before in the Five of Pentacles. So we may want to slide on back to that. All right, I have to give credit here for Dina's comment because that's awesome. In a reading I did, this card came up as the lover of the client, and it turned out the guy was a farmer. All right, so and Katie's saying perfect. So sometimes the tarot can be very esoteric, and sometimes the tarot can be so freaking literal. And in this case, it was very, very literal. So I thank you for contributing that, Dina. That's very funny. Like, I mean, that would almost be the equivalent of the magician card indicating an actual stage magician. So freaking obvious. And sometimes I wish tarot was more obvious than that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have such difficulties with it sometimes. So the Seven of Pentacles relates to the element of earth. Seven of Pentacles symbolizes the rewards and satisfaction that come through hard work. So there's a couple of symbols going on in this, per Theresa Reed from the Tarot Coloring Book. The Garden of Pentacles. Gardens symbolize growth, and the Garden of Pentacles is a sign of a profitable harvest, the fruits of your labor. And then you have the garden tool. This is a symbol of persistence and hard work that still needs to be done. Work it. Yeah. So here, the figure in the Seven of Pentacles leans on his garden tool, pondering what he's accomplished and what is yet to come. Slow growth is good growth. Results are ahead, but the ultimate reward is in the journey of itself. So sometimes so we're talking about upright meanings right now, right? But the reversal of the Seven of Pentacles can suggest an inability to find work or working for no rewards. It is also a card of impatience, waiting for a big payoff before anything has had a chance to fully open or ripen. As the old saying goes, a watched pot never boils. So yeah, when I see, that's kind of my interpretation of the Seven of Pentacles reversed as well. And again, you do not have to read with reversals if you don't want to read with reversals. But that's kind of my interpretation when I see the Seven of Pentacles reversed, that, that windfall that you were expecting, or that the juice, you think that the juice is worth the squeeze, but at this point, it's either you have to wait a little bit longer to see the rewards, or it's just taking a little bit longer, or you may have to shift gears because this isn't as profitable a venture as you would have previously liked. Oh, Seven of Pentacles took the wand, stuck a shovel on it, and got to work instead of fighting. Ooh, I like that interpretation, Tina. Props to you. That's awesome. Because remember, just because someone says something out of a book, that doesn't mean that's its one and only true meaning. Like, what you make of these cards and what you make of these symbols are completely valid. And I really, really like that interpretation, Dina. That's awesome. All right. Are we good on the Seven of Pentacles? Is there any imagery that you're noticing on the Seven of Pentacles? There's little tendrils. There's, I think, a little bit of a water element going on. There's mountains in the background. Honestly, I find this card to be a very fruitful card. Like you did everything in the right order. You planted the seeds, you watered them, you tended to them, and now you're growing coins. It's the fruit, it's literally the fruit of your labor, the fruit of your effort. All right, let's take a look at, oops. Now, I am going to put this up there with the caveat of this. Yes, Dina's saying it's very lush, because it is. It's a beautiful card. And I also find it interesting that the background is kind of gray. It's not direct sunlight. So remember that, and I mean, I think the reason why I say or interpret the whole gray instead of direct sunlight is because anything in extreme is not a good thing for gardening, as well as for business, as well as for everything else. Because remember, the Pentacles is the element of earth and is associated with career, with finance, with a job, with financial prosperity. You know, what's my career going to be like? Is this job going to make me more money? Am I going to be satisfied with the money that I make? Am I going to get this raise? You know, these are all questions that may be surrounding the Seven of Pentacles. So remember the question, remember the context, but also remember, notice there's no direct sunlight in this particular card, because anything that goes to the extreme of too much or too little is probably not a good thing. And it's going to inhibit the growth rather than help the growth. You know, like not too much water, not too much sunlight, just enough for the growth to happen. And it will become, oh yes, exactly. So we're finding that we're finding those associations and that follow through of the story, and it will become the garden of the Nine of Pentacles, which is very, very, very lush. Exactly. Well spotted. Hi, honey. It's okay. Don't apologize. Just come on through. Okay. No one in the stream needs to know that you're taking out the garbage, but now they do. Because I'm not on camera right now. I've just got my voice because I'm projecting the Seven of Pentacles right now. So Katie is saying, I think what gets me with all sevens is that they are just a little unbalanced. They aren't there yet with whatever they're doing. That unbalance transfers to me feeling like I'm not feeling balanced reading them. This discussion is helping. Great. That's what the discussion is for. That's the reason why I do these free workshops. And I'm getting a big thumbs up from my husband in the background. Oh, another good point from Dina. Feels like he is working for someone else. Very, very good point. It does look like, here, you want to take a peep at this card? Feels like he is working for someone else instead of doing his own thing. What do you think?
It makes me sad.
It makes you sad? Oh my God. Okay, there's a little too much realness from my husband right now on the feed. We were having some difficulties with our day jobs today and working for someone else. So well spotted, Dina. I think my husband agrees with you. Okay, so, and I'm so glad this discussion is helping everyone in understanding the fives and the sevens, the differences, the similarities, and also just understanding these cards. So let us move on to the Seven of Cups to round out the sevens, and then we can talk a little bit about the fives and the sevens. So before I project this onto the screen, I just want to make a note about the Seven of Cups. So just because I'm saying that the Seven of Cups to me is a less difficult card than the other sevens doesn't mean that it's not more difficult for some people. The reason why I say that, yes. Remember our experience and our personal experience and what we're relating to, it's like it's synchronicity. And you know what? Synchronicity is sometimes the best form of intuition we have. Dina's saying maybe because I was learning about serfs recently, like slaves. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, my husband just got very sad looking at this card because we just had a kind of bad experience in our day job in trying to convey what our concerns are in our day job, and people not seeming to hear us, people that we work with, people that we work for. So good point there, Dina. So the reason why I'm giving this caveat to the Seven of Cups is I don't think it's as difficult a card as the rest of the sevens, but that doesn't mean that it isn't a difficult card energetically for some people. And the reason why I'm saying that is because the Seven of Cups is beautiful, it's very successful, but it's also very, very difficult for some people that are multi-talented to choose which path to go on. Which way do I side? Which way do I go? Which cup do I decide? Which cup do I drink from? What's the right choice here? And for people that are multi-passionate, I call this card the Idea-ria card, as in diarrhea, but for ideas. They often are going a mile a minute. They're so talented and so good at many things that sometimes they don't know which path to choose because they are naturally talented in many areas. So sometimes, you follow the talent, and other times you follow your heart. And that's what I usually say to people that receive this card and that are multi-talented. Like, sometimes it is a matter of following your heart to what you want to do rather than following the talent. Can be very difficult to choose, because to me, when I see this card, I think there is only one real right path for someone, but it is a struggle trying to narrow it down for them. Oh, Zuri is mentioning I'm very impatient, so that Seven of Pentacles is challenging for me. Yes, because especially with what Theresa said in the tarot coloring book, a watch pot never boils. Like, you want to get to the good stuff. I'm sure, energetically speaking, the Seven of Cups is also probably difficult for you as well, because you like to zig when other people zag. You've got your ideas going a mile a minute. Like, Seven of Cups is a wonderful, abundant card, but it also can be very difficult to navigate because you're good at so many things. All right, let me look at the cups. The cups. All right, I think we've got the cups first. So I'd love to hear what people think about the Seven of Cups and what they're seeing. And if you are also similarly stunted or stumped by the Seven of Cups. Zuri says, regarding the Seven of Pentacles, I want it yesterday. Yeah, I'm pretty impatient too. Katie says, but may also be Master of None in those cups. Actually, that's very funny that you say that, because my husband was just saying that about his own skill set. He feels like he's a jack of all trades, but a master of none. And it's very frustrating for him because he feels like he can't really specialize. So good point there, which makes them more indecisive because they know they aren't excellent in any of them. Yes, exactly. I'm going to have to, so my Mr. Man went out to take the garbage, but I'm going to have to probably replay him this particular section so that he can get the tarot's advice on that particular conundrum. Yeah, definitely. Jack of all trades, master of none, that definitely resonates with the Seven of Cups. So just pulling up the tarot coloring book, the Seven of Cups represents an inability to make a decision, the element of the water. This is decisions. This is a kid in the candy store. The beauty of this card is that there are many choices available. Which path should you take when there are so many to choose from? This card can also indicate wishes fulfilled or wishful thinking, the dreamer who builds castles in the sky. So Zuri is saying, oftentimes I see the Seven of Cups in client readings as a caution not to be distracted by the shiny things or offers that aren't best for their long-term goals. So Katie's saying, I would like that advice too, LOL. Yes, exactly. Dina says, just learned that this card says it's okay to imagine. Yes, absolutely. I mean, there's another card in the Suit of Cups that I think is much more damning, I guess, of dreaming or daydreaming, which is the Four of Cups, which is kind of a daydreamer card to me. But that is more a card of like pipe dreams and staying staying within that daydreamer state instead of actually doing something about it. This, because it's the 7, you're further along to the 10. This is more about dreaming and then doing. Like, you can't have just the dreaming, you have to have the doing as well. So the symbols in this card, the cups, if you look closely, you'll see that every cup has a different offering: riches, power, victory, youth, castles, and so on. Some say that these represent the 7 deadly sins. What's tempting you at the moment? Oh, that's a really good point there from Theresa. What do you guys think about that? I'm wondering where the sloth card is, or where the sloth cup is. So to me, the snake in that top right corner, that could be the snake of temptation. You know, the laurel wreath might be of peace or of peacemaking, or of power. It could be easily construed as a crown, jewels, riches, eternal youth. Very interesting interpretation, right? The shadowy figure. The figure holds out his hand in a gesture that suggests he is taken aback by the choices before him. This symbolizes being in the dark and unable to see which way to go. And then the colors in the Rider-Waite deck, the cups and snake are yellow. The figure is black. Hold on, I can't really see that because I have my my tonal screen going on so that I don't have too much glare. So hopefully you guys didn't see that. It's just me seeing that. So back to the colors. The cups and snake are yellow, the figure is black, the clouds are white, and the sky is blue. The head, castle, and dragon are blue. The jewels are multicolored, the wreath is green. The covered figure in one of the cups is white with a red aura. Which colors say indecisive to you? So Dina says, then the 8 of Cups walks away from perfectly good cups to follow his choice. Good point there, and that's also making me realize that I didn't post my card of the day, which is the 8 of Cups reversed. Excuse me. Anything else that people are seeing in the 7 of Cups before we start to look at all 4 of them together? Let me know, let me know, let me know. It's not solid though. It's the cloud. It's in the cloud still. Nothing grounded. Yes. Right. Exactly. It is not solid. You still have to take action on it. It's like these things are being dreamed up, or these paths may be offered, or there's a possibility of them, but you still have to do the concrete work to make it happen, right? Anything else for the 7 of Cups before we pull up all 4 of the 7s? Oh, my husband just sprayed like body spray in here. Gross. It smells like boy in here now. That's marriage. Of course, I would have to be on screen when this this spray or this perfume is hitting my throat. Yes, exactly. Also could be the 7 deadly sins, like we were talking about that before. I'm telling you guys, pick up this book. You will not regret it. Because in coloring the images on here, you will definitely find something new. Zuri's got a little laughing emoji here. Is that because of what I just said about my husband's like Axe body spray? Dying here, dying. Anyway, okay. Let me point out something from the fives that I just noticed as I was flipping through, and then we'll talk about all of these seven. Actually, no. Let's talk about the sevens in conjunction with each other first. Then we'll come back to the fives. We'll talk about the fives and sevens. I'll give you the weekend forecast, and we can call it done. Let's see here. So, okay. We've got the Seven of Pentacles. We got the Seven of Cups. We've got the Seven of Swords. And we have something else. Where did all of my stuff go? Oh my goodness, guys. So many photographs. Aha, there we go. Finally found the scroll bar here. There you are. Oh, well, I can't put all of these on screen at the same time and also have my face on screen. So let me go ahead and get out of here. Okay. So let me scroll over to this guy playing defense. Let's put them all up equal weights, equal value. So what are you seeing in the different sevens here? I'm going to take another sip of my beer. I'm almost done with my beer, actually. Very different stories, right? What's similar? What's different? What meaning can we draw from the similarities and the differences, right? The wands and pentacles are more grounded. The cups and the swords are not. And isn't that interesting? How the cups that are a water element seem to be up in the sky. Well, clouds are made of water, right? That's definitely a way to look at it too, Katie. Where are those, where are the namesake of that particular suit? Where are those namesakes located? And what can that tell you about the interpretation of the card? Pentacles are more grounded because they're the element of earth, but most of those pentacles are on the ground. And isn't it interesting to see that? Or on the ground or on the bush? But like if you look at the Ace of Pentacles, for example, the Ace of Pentacles is coming from, it's in the air, being held by a hand that is coming out of a cloud. So that can really tell you whether or not these ideas or these elements are concrete or practical versus pie in the sky thinking. That's another good point Dina's saying. Passive versus assertive. Absolutely. We did talk a little bit about this in the fives. You know, there's definitely an element of offense versus defense, or activity versus passivity. We also talked, I think, a little bit about the difference between aggression versus assertiveness, I think, in the last episode. Or it could just be, me drawing my knowledge from other places or other conversations that I've had, or from my IG lives from this week as well. Definitely the common element, of course, is the sevens. 7 of coins, 7 of cups, 7 of swords, 7 of wands. And notice that the nature of struggle, like we were saying before, let me try and, where is that? All those colors in the deck. Where's the minor arcana? Oh, excuse me. Let me find that. There's the major arcana. Can't find it. Oh, minor arcana 53. What to do? I'll keep waiting. Yeah, here. Katie says, nothing is actually really his in cups and swords. Good points. Good points. He is still in the air with deciding in the cups, and he's stealing something that isn't his in the swords. Excellent, excellent point. Yes, so the keywords for the fives, again, are change, instability, and conflict. And for the sevens is challenge and struggle. So it's just, challenge and struggle, but with the suit being different, it means what the suit changes the nature of the challenge or the nature of the struggle. It also changes the rewards as well. And we talked a little bit about this in the fives too. And I'm not one to say that a tarot card is positive versus negative, because we do have different aspects of both positive and negative in each tarot card. But what I will say is I often find with the minor arcana that there are two suits that are positive or geared more towards positivity, and two suits that seem to be more negative in nature. And depending on the number, those positive or negative suits may change. Like the Three of Cups. The Three of Cups is pretty damn positive. The Three of Swords, kind of negative. Does that make sense to everyone? Does anyone have any other thoughts before we look at the some of the other cards? Such as, uh-oh. I don't think I can put all the sevens and all the fives on screen at the same time. There's only so much I can do. I'm not sure if I'm hearing things, but I think it might be raining out right now. But what would you all like to see in comparison? Because there is something I wanted to show you. Because I wanted to go back to the Five of Pentacles and what I happened to see there. So I'm just going to go ahead and hide Back again. Hello. I'm just going to go ahead and hide all of the sevens for right now, and I'm going to pull up the Five of Pentacles and the Seven of Pentacles so we can compare the two. But also, I wanted to let you know about something that I just noticed on the Five of Pentacles that I didn't notice last time around. All right. So here's the 5. And here's the 7. Now, let me tell you what I learned from this book, because I really didn't notice it because it seemed to it just didn't draw my eye last week. And you can spend a lot of time doing this, and I really do encourage you to do this, is to spend your time comparing and contrasting in the same ways that I was mentioning in last week's episode and this week's episode. Self-study and looking at these cards yourself is invaluable, really. Like, these workshops can definitely help you, and I can point you in the right direction, but there's no substitute for sitting down with your own tarot deck and looking through these images yourself, because I know from my own experience when I was a 16-year-old just starting reading the cards and looking at the cards, I remember it so clearly in my lavender purple bedroom with my glowing stars on the ceiling, listening to the soundtrack for Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and just looking at my tarot deck. There's no substitute for my little teenage tarot self. So here's something that I didn't notice in the Five of Pentacles. The bell around the man's neck, the one that's on the crutches, the bell. So look at that center card. He is wearing a bell around his neck. That's a good interpretation. So Katie's saying he's homeless in 5, but at least in the 7, there appears to be something that he has produced. Good interpretation. See, you're not going to find these things unless you sit down and compare and contrast. It really is a story running through that particular minor arcana suit. It really, really is. So the bell around the man's neck in the Five of Pentacles. Back in medieval days, lepers often wore bells around their necks to warn people that they were coming. This symbolizes ill health, but also prejudice. Feel as if nobody wants you around? You could be right. Or your negative-tude could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Interesting. Notice the bell. Never noticed the bell before. All is not lost. There is help available if you are willing to accept it. This card can also indicate feeling like an outsider or as though you are not good enough or not worthy of assistance. That's oftentimes not true. Just not true whatsoever. What else are you seeing in the comparison of these two cards? Or is this fairly straightforward and there's another set, another two-for set of the 5s and the 7s that you want to take a look at? Or even differing 5s, like the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles, or 7 of Cups. Just let me know. The other figure is missing a shoe. That's true. Of course, the comment there that I've just displayed is blocking out exactly what you're talking about. Had to get up to put down the book. But you're absolutely right. The other figure is missing a shoe. And it looks like the other guy has like toes sticking out. It's bandaged, you know. But I had never really noticed the bell. The bells, the bells. Sanctuary. We can do another card combination if you guys so choose, or if you've got it, if you've got it and you want to run off and go take a look at your own tarot decks and compare different tarot decks. Actually, let me go ahead and see if I can pull up an image of the Seven of Swords, for example, from the Fountain Tarot. Let me try doing that. Yeah, that is exactly what I was looking for. I knew that I knew what that looked like. Seven Swords. That is not how you spell fountain. Okay. So Dina is saying five moved in with 7 and now they have food. Excellent point as well. I love that. See, but the interpretation or the spirit of the card didn't change. Asking for help, asking for assistance has resulted in prosperity, or at the very least, food in their bellies. So let me show you another card from another deck so we can kind of see the difference here. So let's take down these two cards. And let me show you what happens when you compare one card with another. And remember, you can do this not just for minor arcana cards, you can do this for major arcana cards as well, if you're having difficulty interpreting them. Or if you just like, and honestly, remember, always be honest, be authentic, and let people know if you're still in the process of learning and you want to trade a reading for a testimonial. If you're nervous about charging because you feel like you're not good enough or you're just beginning, always try and have an exchange and just be honest about what your level of reading is. So that there isn't any misconceptions or isn't any bad feelings. You know, I always say that there should be an exchange because you are sparing your time and you're also trying to learn a new skill. You're going to make mistakes, but you also kind of need people to practice on too, to get better. Oh, that's a good interpretation too, going back to the 5 and the 7 of Pentacles. What stands between the two cards? The 6 of Pence, and how that 6 of Pence can nourish both of those cards. Actually, that is such a good point that I want to, damn it, I shouldn't have moved on. We'll have to circle back to that, but it's a very excellent point. I'm going to go ahead and hide this and hide this. We're going to bring this back up. We're going to add the have to search for 6 of Pence. No, that is not what I, well, hold on. wrong one I wanted to pull up first. Where is my 6 of Pence? There you are. 6 of Pentacles. 7 of Pentacles. What stands between these two cards? The 6 of Pentacles, and how that 6 of Pentacles can nourish both of those cards. Look at that. I want everyone to see that. To see the interplay of these cards. Everything, like I said in the last episode, in part 1 of this two-parter on the 5s of the 7s, The 78 cards and the structure of the tarot is intentional. Everything is intentional with these cards. Or the Six of Pentacles can be the ritual prescription to bring resolution. Exactly. There is a technique that I learned. I'm not sure if I learned it from Mary Greer or from Rachel Pollack or from somebody else or from Thalassa of San Francisco Bay Area Tarot Symposium. But it is a technique that I use called the bridge spread, which is you take a final outcome card that you don't like or that the client doesn't like, you put that in the first position. You then look through the tarot deck face up to the outcome that you would prefer, and you put that in the third position. And then you flip the deck over and you shuffle up the deck and you ask the deck, how can I get from here to here? What is the card that will give me the action to bring myself from this final outcome that I don't want to the final outcome that I do want? So this kind of 3-card spread is really reminding me of that fact, that the card that comes in between these 2 cards can possibly be the remedy. Does that make sense to everyone? I really can't remember who taught me that. Exactly. Brilliant minds think alike. Yes, totally. So there was a few comments, I believe, about the comparing the 7 of Swords in one and the 7 of Swords in the Fountain Tarot. So I will circle back to that when I display those two. But Katie is saying, again, still nothing is really his. He's not homeless anymore, but he is still not really owning his stuff. He is dependent on someone else, even if he is in a better place. It's a good interpretation. Remember, always coming back to the question that was asked, coming back to the context in which it was asked, coming back to the surrounding cards. It will tell you, the tarot will tell you everything that you need to know if you are meant to know it or if your client is meant to know it at that time. Sometimes it likes to obscure for things that we are not meant to know. So Katie says that's a really good idea with the bridge spread. And actually, maybe that should be our topic for next week's episode. Let me know if you want to learn more about it, or if I can do a couple of examples of it in that episode. Happy to do it. I would like to be able to give credit, but I just can't remember out of all of my classes, out of all the conferences that I've attended, who originally said that to me. But it's like a really, really great catch-all kind of bread and butter spread that I do with the 3 cards. So, all right, Katie's requesting that, so maybe that would be our episode for next week. I will certainly schedule that after I'm done teaching this workshop, right? All right, the right time. I keep hearing that phrase lately, the right time. If you're hearing it in 3s, it's probably because you're meant to hear it in 3s. And it brings more meaning. It's kind of like that synchronicity. Synchronicity is sometimes our own best intuition. It's definitely a form of intuition, I can tell you that. All right, let me go back to the 7s. So let me find it. 7 of Swords and 7 of Swords. So Zuri says, it's hard when we take so many classes and continuing education to remember, but if it comes to me, I'll message you. Okay, great, awesome. Because I think Zuri has also heard of that particular bridge spread, or, you know, the middle card is the remedy for what you're asking about, or the solution, or the ritual solution. Yeah, Dina's saying Pentacles on the ground in 7 and in the air in 5 and 6. That's true. All right, scrolling back to so there is 2 not in the hands. Yes, exactly. For both depictions of the 7 of Swords, there's 5 grasped and 2 unclaimed. And Katie would interpret that to mean, so it's like you can't take everything. I would agree with that interpretation for definite. So let's look at these 2 cards. I mean, and this is the part, this is the reason why I notice now on the 7 of Swords in the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, this is how I noticed in that particular deck that he was grasping the blade of the 7 of Swords rather than grasping the hilt. It's because of this depiction of the 7 of Swords, the depiction that is in the Fountain Tarot, that I really realized that he's grabbing the blade. Why would you do that? That hurts. So I think Dana's mentioning manifestation in regards to the pentacles on the ground and the 7, and in the air and the 5 and the 6. Going back to the 5, 6, and 7 of Pentacles. Katie is saying wanting more than you can actually deal with, taking on more than you can manage. Yeah, exactly. I think that some of it is really like, you know, trying to be more clever than we actually are, trying to, oh my goodness, we've been going for 2 hours now? Jeez. All right. Or am I just making that up? Or an hour and a half, I don't know. Dina says painful lessons. Yes, exactly. Like I always like to say about the 7 of Swords that when it's upright, it's a good sign, because it's almost as if like you know who the shit stirrer is, or you know who the person is that's more clever than they think. You know, like that upright meaning to me means that you've got it figured out. Like you know who that person is. With the reversed meaning, sometimes I'm just like that is the more difficult card, because sometimes you don't know who that person is, who the person that's more clever than they actually, or not as clever as they actually think they are. It's almost the difference between being able to pull the wool over someone's eyes versus you being the person that sees through that bullshit. Makes sense to everyone? Because I think we've got to wrap this up. It has been another marathon session with you guys, and I'm so glad that you stuck around. We've got some loyal viewers here wanting to learn about the 5s and the 7s of the tarot, and I really, really appreciate it. So one more comment or one more comparison? Do we want to do one more comparison? Do we want to do another 7 of Swords or 5 of Cups? Just let me know. The choice is yours. Whether it's comparing another 5 and 7 of a different suit, or comparing another depiction of a 5 or a 7. Let me know. I really do think that it started raining. Oh. Dina says you need to eat. That's true. I do need to have dinner. But Katie is saying, I'm happy to continue different comparison with different suits. Okay, cool. Well, tell me which suit. Which one are you having? Which one do you feel like you're having the most difficulty with? And also tell me whether it's a 5 or a 7. I've got conflicting conflicting comments. I mean, ultimately, it's my decision after all, but meaning your card pull. Oh, yes, exactly. Okay. Let me do another one really quickly. Really, really quick. Really, really, really quick. Let's try. Let me see. Because I don't want to do the 5 of Cups for the Fountain Tarot because it's very, very similar. Let's try the... Nah. I'm just like very Fountain Tarot focused right now. Maybe Five of Pentacles. Nah. I mean, this one's an interesting one, actually. I'm going to go ahead and grab this image here. Actually, that's probably making too much work for myself. All right, I'm going to make a executive decision and go with the weekend forecast. Katie, you have the tools now. You have the tools, and I would really, really encourage you guys to go ahead and do this work on your own. And if you have any questions, you know where to find me. You can always message me. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding different topics of the tarot, or if you want to book a session with me, we can absolutely talk about tarot teaching and teaching you the meanings of the cards. Because I am also a tarot teacher, not just a tarot reader, obviously. And this is what these free workshops are for you to be able to explore these topics and then take that and bring it into your own exploration and study of the tarot. So I'm going to honor my own body because, yes, my stomach is grumbling a little bit. We do need to get into the weekend forecast. So I would say, as I'm pulling the weekend forecast, let me know if you have any additional questions surrounding this topic from part 1 and part 2. You can go ahead and post them in here, and I will get to them. I might even get to them after the broadcast, honestly, because I monitor your comments as much as I possibly can, even if we're not live on here. So, let me show this, hide, and let me bring back my lovely, lovely, don't need the logo anymore, but I do need it. I need my overlay. I need it because it's so pretty. All right. So we are going to go into the weekend forecast really, really quickly because I don't want my rumbling tummy be audible on the audio. I don't know where I have my Fountain Tarot companion book, which is so nicely packed into this deck. So I'm just going to be interpreting it off the cuff. But let's see what the weekend has in store for us. I already gave the Astro-Weather from Theresa at the top of the episode. So go ahead and check that out. And let us see. Oh gosh, hold on a second. Let me Sorry, everybody had to mute that because you didn't want to hear what was going on in the background. All right, what do we most need to know for this weekend? Okay. So we have the Knight of Wands coming up reversed for the weekend forecast. So to me, the Knight of Wands is actually really, really hysterical that it's coming up reversed. Because we were talking a little bit about the Astro-Weather, and I love it when the Astro-Weather lines up with the tarot and the tarot lines up with the Astro-Weather. We were talking about Mars being in Aries. We're talking about what else was in Aries? I can't even remember at this point, but it's been a very fiery, fiery time. And we also have the sun sign in Leo right now. So Wands is the element of fire. So it is reflecting that kind of get up and go energy that, again, the difference between assertiveness and aggression. Knight of Wands is aggressive. So the having the weekend forecast be the Knight of Wands reversed, to me, is a really sure sign that we need to kind of hold up a little bit, to not let our tempers flare or get the best of us, especially on Sunday when we were seeing that there's going to be some hinky stuff going on Sunday. Moon, thank you, Dina. The moon is in Aries. So that can be really good because it can indicate this kind of fiery energy, this cataclysm for get up and go. But it also can be resulting in aggression or unnecessary aggression. So you really got to watch out for that with the Knight of Wands being reversed. The Knights are the brash teenagers of the tarot, and with the Wands coming up, the Knight of Swords and the Knight of Wands are like the two brashest of the brash knights. Knight of Wands in particular because it is the suit of fire. So can you guys see him? Hold on, let me hold it up a little bit. So look at that imagery. It has a very like watercolor aspect to it, so sometimes it is harder. I know that Katie was saying maybe we should all be trying to see imagery in the weekend forecast too. So this guy, this Knight of Wands, is kind of like this, what, I do what I want energy, you know? It's like, you can't stop me. You can't tell me what to do. Remember, we got the reversal though. So like, tone it down, rein it in, hold your fire, as the prog rock trio Rush says. Hold your fire, keep it burning bright. That's the weekend forecast. Watch yourself. So Katie is saying, tone down the aggression so he doesn't burst into flame. He looks blurred, like he is catching on fire. Yes, that's true too. But also it is kind of the style, the artistic style that is in the Fountain Tarot. So definitely looks like it's almost like this heat mirage going on, right? Or it also can indicate that maybe we're having a heat wave this weekend. I don't know. All right, I think that's it, folks. We did another marathon session. I so appreciate you guys being here. That was really, really awesome. And I think we rounded out the episode in a fantastic manner. Keep playing with your 5s and 7s. Keep on looking at them. Keep on looking at any difficult cards that you have, doing the comparison and contrasting for symbols, imagery. Yeah, exactly. So Dina's saying thank you and have a great weekend, everybody. Just a few short things before we wrap this up. So as always, I just want to remind everyone that we do this every Friday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We usually tackle a different tarot or metaphysical or divination topic. And that is completely up to you guys. So you just let me know. So next week, we might be talking about the bridge spread or the bridge technique, where you take a final outcome card that you don't like so much, you intentionally choose the final outcome that you want, and then you find that bridging card as to how you can shift your energy or shift your actions to bring yourself from the final outcome card that you don't particularly want to the final outcome card that you do want to manifest. So look out for that this coming Friday, please. Friday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right where you're seeing this video, whether it is on Facebook, whether it is on YouTube, this is where you find me. I want to thank all of you for watching. I really appreciate it. You guys are stellar. If it's the first time that you've met me or seen me, hi. Welcome to my orbit. I hope you like what you see. And if you think this video would be helpful, please go ahead and SHARE it. I would really appreciate it. And I think that's it, folks. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. It has been a power-packed episode. So once again, good night, Dina. Good night, Katie. Good night, all live viewers, and also anyone catching the replay right now. Good night, good morning, huzzah. To all of you. Yes, and Zuri is mentioning I am on IG as well, which would be Instagram as well, instagram.com/tarot by Hilary. By the way, you might want to check that out. I'll go ahead and put in that in the chat right now, instagram.com/tarot by Hilary. Wait for that to propagate a little bit. So I can show it here. Again, Tarot by Hilary. Hilary is with one L. You might want to go and check that out if you are on Instagram. I understand that not everyone is like Insta people, and that's fine. But I am doing a morning, like kind of live show where I get in touch with my Instagram people, and that's called According to Hilary. I try to do it every weekday morning, and it's just me riffing on different topics that come to my head. It's almost like my low rent version of Theresa's wonderful IG live series, Tarot Tangents and Transits. But it's me. So if you like what you see here, you'll probably like that series too if you're on Instagram. Thank you, Zuri, for shouting that out. I appreciate it. Once again, if you were looking for a session with me, you can book one at tarotbyhilary.com. And to introduce myself or reintroduce myself again, I am Hilary, a professional tarot reader, demystifying the mystical and putting you in touch with the most beautiful of gifts, your own intuition. Don't argue with me, my friends. You also have intuition. Catch you next time, right here, Friday night, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, I'm really going now. I got to go eat something. And I hope you take care of yourself as well. Bye.